Hi, I hope it's okay if I answer via video. It's easier for me in this way. I can give full answers to your questions. Um, and this is also my earnest, honest reaction to my first time reading the questions. If you have any more, just send them to me. And hopefully, though, that this will work. All right. So your first question is, what do you feel has been the most important role of the Circa app since its creation? Important role. Well, so I think Circa is trying to do a few things. One is, just to create a really great reading experience on the mobile. But the other, which I'm personally more interested in, is sort of pushing the boundaries or questioning what the unit of news is. So traditionally you think of what news is and it's something that can be put into an article, whereas what we do is we break the story down into these discrete points and we turn that into a storyline that exists over a period of time. And we add information to it. If you've ever followed a story on Circa, you've experienced what the results of that. So both it's thinking through the news experience for the mobile, but then as part of that, also questioning what is the base unit of news and what happens when you question that and change it. Your next question is, how has the app changed since it first started, and what further changes do you see being made in the future? I mean, a lot has changed. A lot of it, I would say, is around implementation or design. The way that you get updates to stories, for example, because this is brand new, our first design for it, it worked, but it was, I think some people found it a little confusing, and so we've refined it based on user feedback and things like that um, to make it better. So the design is much sleeker. Things of that nature. We've also recently included the ability to do push notifications. So when there's breaking news, we can do like a wide breaking push notification that then people can follow the story and stick with it. So I think that's also been really helpful, really important. In terms of the future, I mean, I think there's a lot that we can do. We've really only scratched the surface. Some of it just being, again, thinking through how multimedia like video or audio or GIFs even get incorporated into our storytelling, to thinking, again, this nature of like, what is the nature of a story? We could, in theory, display the stories chronologically, sort of like as a timeline, how it is now based on when was the last time you looked at this story, right? So the context of the reader, and also contextually, I think is something that we can do as well. We do some contextual now when we show that different stories are related to each other. We show like, hey, these are other related Circa stories. But what if we could show also that an entity like Barack Obama, if you were to click on that entity and you'd see all the stories that that entity exists in. Of course, for Barack Obama, that might be too much. But for smaller entities, right, that would be really meaningful. So I think there's a lot of different things that we can still do. Um, Third question, do you believe Circa will change the way users consume the news? I like to think so, yes. I mean, obviously I'm a little biased here because I work for Circa. But, I think what we're doing is fundamentally different. To my knowledge, at least, there's nobody else that can do this sort of follow functionality that I've described. In fact, I don't even know if there's anybody who's really trying it. Now there are some that will try maybe at the sort of topic level, like you can follow a topic, which is kind of like following a hashtag, but it's not the same as sort of telling a story and following a story. It's a little different. Um, but so I do think that whether or not we do it or others do it, I think this idea of being able to follow a story and questioning the unit of news is really fundamental, really important, and I do hope and think that we are pushing the boundaries in terms of how we think about that. Are there many users who use the follow story feature? Yes, there are. And of course, not surprisingly, those are the sort of people that use the app regularly or very, very regularly, daily, if not weekly. And we have a good percentage of people that do follow stories. And what we find is they're very sticky with the app, which is to say they become loyal users, right? They start reading the app regularly, every day, if not at least once or twice a week. Um, how does the Circa newsroom deal with breaking news situation? I mean, in some respects, not any different from other news organizations. The main question is for us is this an update to an existing story that we already have, or a brand new story? Um, And then if it is a brand new story, then we get the headline and the deck up, and basically we go with what we are confident in. Once we have that, actually, we can play it somewhat conservative in terms of our confidence level of information. We don't really go into rumor mills. We don't go into assumptions or innuendos or anything. We really try and stick with what we can confirm and verify. And part of that is because we know that we have a follow feature, and that once someone's following the story, what they're really looking for are the important news updates, not just like, they don't want everything. They want, or they rely on us to give them what is true and factual. So we can respond to breaking news really fast, and we are really fast with verifying, and in that respects, again, we're no different from any other newsroom that is scouring and making emails and calls or doing whatever to try and find out what they can and what they feel confident in making public. Are there many users? Oh no, sorry, used that question already. Do you believe multimedia is important to journalism, and how will Circuit incorporate more multimedia elements? So I talked about this a little bit. I mean, right now our multimedia is essentially images and maps, but it's not hard or difficult to imagine audio or video or GIFs or even graphs or statistical sort of elements. Excuse me. And I do think that it's very important. Multimedia is very important. The real question is to know when to use it, when it really helps put a story in perspective or pushes the story forward. You don't want to do video just because you can. You want to do video because it has that, because it helps tell the story, or there's a part of the story that can really best be told through video, right? And this is something that I think cable news has done a horrible a horrible injustice to, because they do a lot of talking heads, right? I mean, it's just people sitting around a table talking to each other, and essentially that's the audio of that and the video of that, or even just reading the text of their opinions. I don't need video of that really, but that's a side rant. And that appears to be all of your questions. Again, if you have any more, just send me an email. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.